When it comes to any sport, people try to get unfair advantages any chance they get. Sometimes fighters really need that edge if they want to actually win in the ring. It's fair to say that just like all the other big sports leagues, cheating in the sport of MMA exists, and there are select fighters who break rules to get wins. We usually hear the phrase cheaters never win, and believe it or not, that does actually hold true, even in the world of MMA. Fighters from championship contenders to underdogs try these dirty tactics to win. For today's video, we're checking out all the times fighters tried cheating, got away with it, but somehow still lost their bouts.
You tap 3-4 times. You tap 4 times.
Someone will tap your head
You
off
tap
the
like
canvas,
chicken.
kid.
Before we get to the meat of the video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe for more videos on the coolest sports content.
You can see it in the replay here. Here's the shots to the back of the head. Just one shot, you know.
1 point.
Oh my goodness.
Brock Lesnar came into the UFC ready to prove he's more than just a wrestler in the WWE. There is a reason we will forever remember Brock Lesnar as someone who came into the UFC as an unexpected fighter to fight and climb himself all the way to the top. With barely any experience and an incredibly short career, Brock Lesnar still fought hard enough to become the heavyweight champion of UFC. We say all this to establish that he still has a top-tier legacy despite some issues with him cheating the rules of MMA. Brock Lesnar's first ever UFC fight back in 2008 was actually against Frank Mir, who, if people could remember, had some memorable fights with the Behemoth. In this fight against Mir, Brock actually had a bit of an advantage and was looking to pull the upset. And this is debatable if it was intentional or not, but during the ground game in this fight, Brock Lesnar ends up throwing a bad punch to the back of Frank Mir's head, which is of course illegal, as it can cause some seriously bad damage to a fighter head and brain.
Wait a second. Mazzagatti steps in.
In the back of the head.
He hits you in the back of the head. There's a timeout call.
The infraction may have been what actually lost Brock Lesnar the bout. As a result, besides a point deduction and warning, the referee also stood the fight back up, and in the stand-up portion, Frank Mir clearly had the advantage, and he was able to shift the tides and get the win over Brock in his debut. Brock does eventually get a rematch and a chance to win the heavyweight belt, where Brock actually gets the win. So it's nice to see this egregious cheating didn't stain his career.
I don't really know what the UFC would have planned for me next or what they're thinking. But
Chad Mendes may sometimes be forgotten and overlooked, but there was a time when he was a real problem in the featherweight division. On the tail end of his career, Chad Mendes faced off against two of the division's greatest. First up was a fight against an in his prime Conor McGregor, who he promptly lost to by TKO in the second round.
Gotta watch out. Mendes is saying they're 10 seconds.
And then a battle against legend Frankie Edgar at the Ultimate Fighter finale, who stops Chad in the first round with some hard punches.
Takedown, but just the attempt, the level changes.
But just before he could go on to redeem himself in a different light, the United States Anti-Doping Agency, or USADA, tested him positive for GHRP6, and he was suspended for 2 years straight. This time around, PEDs wasn't enough for Chad to put a mark against some of the best in the lightweight division, and he also lost his chance to even redeem himself.
Involved from guard now. It's tight. This might be it.
This fight was actually a special one for Jake Matthews, as he was fighting in his home country of Australia, as the UFC held a special event in their return to Australia. Jake Matthews was going up against Jingliang, and it definitely looked like he had the advantage in the fight. In fact, it looked like the fight was about to end, as Jake Matthews went for a guillotine choke that looked inescapable. Jingliang finds a more direct way to escape, however, by poking out Jake Matthews' eye.
And here's the foul. Right there, guys. That is pro wrestling bad.
Of course, this is a violation and gets the fight stopped, and as you can see, the poke did a real number to Jake Matthews. The fight goes on, however, and Jake Matthews still eventually beats out Jingliang in a decision win over the fighter. Even with one of the dirtiest moves to sway the fight in his favor, Jingliang just could not stop Jake Matthews.
Wow. The moral victory of Khabib landing that big right hand.
McGregor and Khabib had one of the most intense rivalries in MMA, and they met at UFC 229. The two were the clear cream of the crop of the lightweight division of the UFC, with Khabib being undefeated and Conor McGregor having one of the most iconic championship reigns full of dominant winning. That's why UFC 229 was an absolute super fight, full of pre-fight trash talk, and was pegged to be one of the best in MMA, with both fighters ready to go to war. McGregor and Khabib faced off in what turned out to be a long night, with Khabib holding serve with his dominant strength.
Smash me!
Smash me!
I can smash
You say send location. Here it is, right here in front of you.
McGregor was clearly ready to do whatever it took to get a win on Khabib, and that included a whole boatload of illegal moves. We saw McGregor grab Khabib's shorts, grab his glove on a few occasions, which is very much against the rules, and we even saw McGregor grab onto the cage to escape Khabib from the ground. Still not enough fouls to get a no contest, and not enough to stop Khabib, as he was simply too strong and too tough as he got his 4th round submission on the notorious Irishman.
There's the tap. Still undisputed. Khabib.
Sometimes the disparity in skill, talent, and strength is so much that cheating literally does nothing.
Wow, how the hell did you find out about that? I didn't even hear about it yet. I haven't even heard about it yet.
In what has to be one of the most embarrassing cheaters never prosper moments, Stephen Bonner faced off against Prime Anderson Silva. If you know anything about UFC history, you would know that during Silva's prime, no fighter even came close to winning against him. Bonner could have lost the first round, and no one would have given him crap for losing because of Prime Silva, but Bonner decides he needed to do what it takes to get an edge on Silva and to pull the upset. So Bonner goes up against Silva, and Silva just shows off why he was considered unbeatable, with an array of masterful footwork and striking that got an easy TKO on Bonner.
Swarms him. Big knee. That was hurt. This is going to be it. Looking to finish the fight.
It was then revealed post-fight that Bonner tested positive for anabolic steroids, which shows that even a perfectly in-shape fighter cheating using PEDs couldn't even dent Prime Anderson, the Spider Silva. The worst part, though, is the second time Bonner got caught using steroids, with him getting caught using anabolics in a fight against Forrest Griffin back in UFC 62, where he again lost despite being on steroids.
Took out his mouthpiece, spit, and then put it back in.
15 seconds.
Oh, big right
Nice
hand.
right hand.
At the end of the fight.
It's just hilarious that you go all these lengths and even cheat to win and still end up getting stomped out. But that's just what happens in the world of MMA. That's all for today's video. What's your favorite Cheaters Never Prosper moment? Write your answers down in the comments, and while you're at it, leave a like if you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to subscribe and click the bell for notifications on the newest videos on the best sports content.